So it occurred to me halfway through this drawing of this sumo wrestler that it might be of interest to my subscribers to see how I approach drawing a portrait with colored pen. Like I said, I'm halfway through this portrait of this sumo wrestler's name is Chiyomaru, and he's a really robust, in my mind, one of the most robust wrestlers in the top division, I believe he's in. Anyways, so these are the pens I'm using, the multicolored Bic pens. I have two varieties. I have one that has red, black, green, and blue, and the other one that has pink, yellow, orange, and purple. I'm using orange as my base skin tone, skin value, skin hue, and then I'm working from that. So right now I've got his cheekbones down. I've used a bit of red, and I'm just gradually building up the curve of his cheek. So the pressure I'm applying is not that great. I'm just laying down a base of orange. But as you can see, I've also put some red and green to get a darker value to sort of delineate his actual cheekbone. So it's kind of bulges out around his neck area. So I need to get a roundish volume there. So what I'm going to do is just, again, light pressure. And the highlight is right on this edge, and then it goes suddenly dark. So what I want is a dark line right there, and then light. I'm probably going to even leave that white of the page to indicate a highlight, but then it rounds off this way. So I'm just going to sculpt his neck a bit. So this is my sketchbook, which is obvious. So I'm not too precious about like cleaning my pen on the top corner. Some people might have a bit more precious approach to a sketchbook, but I kind of like my sketchbooks dirty and ragged and used up. It kind of reflects its lifespan, the period that I've used it, you know. I remember once when I was in university, this particular story illustrates the extremes I went to when I was a university student. I was traveling around with friends in Europe. It was actually a study abroad semester. And we had a tutor / chaperone, and I had a bigger sketchbook. It was like 14 by 20 maybe. It was a larger volume, large enough where you could sit on it. Anyways, let's get some blue to increase the shadow here. Anyways, I had spilled some Coke accidentally, but being the all-knowing university student in my 20s, I decided, no, I'm not going to move. I'm just going to sit in that puddle of Coke, or near that puddle of Coke, on my sketchbook. And my tutor, Malcolm, saw this and basically blew a gasket because he knew that what I had done in that sketchbook, it was, to be quite honest, they were pretty good drawings in that sketchbook. So it was, he valued my sketchbook more than I did, I guess. But at the end of that trip, that particular sketchbook was quite beat up, and my last stop in that study abroad, I was in Vienna with that sketchbook. And I was on an independent study for a week, I think it was. So I was touring Austria. Went to Salzburg. I went to Innsbruck. And then my last stop was Vienna. And I was mailing a postcard, and I had put down my sketchbook on the counter, mailed my postcard, forgot about the sketchbook on the counter until 10 minutes later. I had left the post office already at that point, walking down the street, and as I'm sure you're all aware, you have that nagging feeling that you've misplaced something or just forgot something. And I realized I had forgotten my sketchbook that had, up to that point, it was 2 months worth of sketches in Europe. So all my Paris sketches were in there, all my all my Paris sketches were in there. I think all my Italy sketches were in there as well. And so I lost it. And that's one of the biggest regrets I've ever had, of not sort of like being a bit more careful with my sketchbook. Anyways, so back to this drawing. There's a bit of shadow here on this part of the chin. I put some red down, and for me, all my shadows tend to be purple hues, so I'm going to put some blue on top of the red very lightly as well. No pressure whatsoever. I'm just kind of skimming it, and my pen nib's just sort of like putting down ink wherever it touches paper briefly. Same thing on this side. I kind of like the sort of partially drawn way that this image is going. I'm probably going to leave it like that. I'm just going to darken out here. Go to his chin. So I'm working off a reference photo right now. I want that to be black. I shot myself in the foot, I think. I'm going to try to go back, put some red on it, make it a purple. Looks pretty good. And as the chin comes up to the neck, that you have a gradation here from dark to light. So I'm going to try to do that. So I'm going to put some red down. And then I'm going to come back with the blue ever so slightly and just try to get a lighter, so dark to light. I think that works. So I think I'm going to just fill in a bit here, fill in a bit of the hair, and call it done. After all, this is just a sketchbook drawing. It's not a finished drawing. I'm just working. Right now, the main objective is to practice mixing with colored pens. That's my objective. I think any drawing that I do in my sketchbook, it's just to try to work on technique. And if it's just so happens that an idea pops up for a future painting, that's great. But when I'm drawing things from a reference photo, like I said in my last sketchbook tour, week 20, it's more about improving my hand-eye coordination at this point of my development. Sorry about the siren in the background. It's a beautiful day here in Toronto. I have my doors open to let the breeze come through. I think they're coming to my building. Yeah, I hear them outside. I hope it's nothing too serious. Actually, I like how that's going. So I'm going to put in the hair right now. I've run out of black ink on this guy. So to make black, I'm going to mix a few colors. I'm going to put down a red first. So I'm just going to basically line there. I'm not too worried about that. Again, this is a sketchbook. Don't be so... I try to tell people when they ask me about sketchbooking not to be too precious about each spread. After all, it's a sketchbook, and you have the next empty spread that you could use if this doesn't go to plan. So again, I'm putting down a wash of red, not too heavy-handed on it. And then I'm going to come back with a green. And try to get a brown out of that combination. Red and green make brown, right? So I'm going to try to get a brown out of that. Again, I'm not too heavy-handed with it. I'm going to come back with a red. The brown's coming through. I hope you can see that. Come back with a red again. So it's just alternating between those two. So when I get it to a point where I like, where the brown really comes through, I think I'm going to add some blue on top of that to bring it to the black. Again, this is all experimentation. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't work. But I've done an earlier bit there on the side and it turned great. And I think this was the approach that I used. This was the color combination and color order I used. Order when using colored pen is really important. And I'm going to come in with blue now. Again, my pressure on this is very, very light. Yeah, that's it. That's looking pretty good, actually. So his hairline goes to about here, sweeps up a bit. Yeah, that black's coming through. I'm going to fill in a bit of his cheek again. Again, remember I said my base skin color was the orange. I'm going to be really light-handed with this. His cheekbone. You could just make out a bit of his eye socket here. So I'm going to fill in his cheek area here. I think the fire truck's still here. I'm tempted to run downstairs and do a quick sketch of the fire truck. But then again, I'm really comfortable drawing this guy right now, so I don't think I'm going to go downstairs. Just here. His eye socket, you could just see a bit right there. His eyebrow ridge is, it's quite, well, he's a larger, more robust gentleman, so his eyebrow ridge is kind of covered in layers of fat, but you could still see the highlight over there. So I'm just going to gradually indicate that. I don't know, should I color it in a light? Going to fill this in. There's not much of a highlight in the photo here, but that is the high point of the eyelid, so or the upper part of the eye. I don't know what the anatomically correct term is, but it recedes, goes to a high point, and then recedes back in. So this is going to be the lightest area. This is going to be dark, 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 light, 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 back to dark, 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 dark. I've been thinking about buying a skull as to practice my portrait drawing, or understanding the underlying structure of a head. I think that'll help me in the long run. So if you guys know of a place I could buy a decently priced skull, I'm not too sure what a decent priced skull goes for, but let me know. Let me know in the comments if anybody has a medical skull out there. So this is the side of the skull right there. So it's going to be a plane, so I could sort of indicate, it's not really indicated in the photo, but I'd like to sort of define that with a bit of a darker area. So again, I'm going to go actually, that's pretty good. So there's a bit of a highlight there, so I'm just going to stop. Actually, that's pretty good. I like that. Bit of shadow underneath his nose. So I'm going to go in with a bit of red and then come back with a bit of green to make brown. I want to darken his nostrils as well, so go back with the red. Come back with a green. Okay, that's it. I think I'm done. It's a sketch. I'm going to leave it at that. I need to do some painting right now. But anyways, here we go. I hope you enjoyed that. This is how I approach drawing with colored pens, colored big ballpoint pens. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.